Welcome to the Killshot MMA podcast from DFS Army. It's UFC Abu Dhabi. Your main event is Corey Sandhagen and Umar Nurmagomedov. On Sniper, that's Monk. Geek just told us live in a Twitter Spaces or X Spaces, which I thought was hilarious, that he's not joining us tonight. NFL season coming around for DFS Army and for everybody, obviously, but we're gearing up at DFS Army. All the tools are in there. Make sure you come check out. There's NFL specials. Check the link in my bio, the YouTube bio. It's a linktree/sniperwins. Tons of stuff everywhere. Just come join DFS Army. NFL is here. MMA. We had a pretty goddamn good last week at UFC 304. I think back-to-back pretty good weeks. I think probably 2 weeks ago was better than last week. I can't lie. And also, those poor people in England up to whatever fucking time that was.
God.
I ended up cashing everywhere in cash because we played Bilal and I ended up not stacking. So I think I made it pretty clear how high I was on Sam Patterson, and that felt pretty good. And that was my choice, Patterson against Edwards. So we come up winning there. And we're going to move on to this week. We got 13 fights to break down. Some really interesting talking points. Some places where I think at least personally, am going to. Unfortunately, I've seen some other people's comments, which I wrote my notes before I read other people's stuff, and then I went on Twitter. I'm seeing some of the. I got to try and stay out of the echo chamber, but I think I'm going to be saying some of the same stuff. But there's one or two points I think I'm going to get fired up this week, Monk. I think since we have extra time, it was just a 2-minute break.
Yeah.
I have some more time to get angry.
I went off on Leon Edwards on like a Thursday show last week. It felt really good. So yeah, I let it out.
Yeah. So you know what? Let's before we break down the fights, we could talk about something. If you don't want to hear MMA opinion, fast forward like a minute. But did you see all the stuff about John Anik being somewhat biased?
Yes, I did see that.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think whoever said that's either is trying to start shit or doesn't actually watch the UFC. Because it was, I thought it was.
So. Let me give you my take then, and see if I can balance this a little bit. I don't think Anik was wrong in anything that he said. The content, and afterwards, I think just, and I said this right away, but I think I'm right in that it wasn't what he said. I don't think he was biased. At least listening to it, I got the very strong opinion take that you could tell he was rooting for Bilal personally.
I'd have to go back and watch just because I honestly didn't think about that during the show.
He's
during the
friends
fight.
with Bilal, so he probably was. His brother
always on
posted
the podcast.
Yeah, like so. I get it, and I guess that bothers me.
Pro Bilal after he won on Twitter,
right?
Yeah,
it's like,
but so was Bisping with Aspinall,
right? And all the British fighters.
Even worse, actually, they were talking about it on air.
1,000%, and it's hard to do. I think ideally, I want you to be neutral because personally, I'm not a Bilal fan, so I don't want to hear that shit. But I get it. You know these athletes forever, like fine. I don't think anything he said was wrong, but I did get the sense like, all right, he's clearly rooting for Bilal. I don't know for whatever that's worth.
I'd have to go back and watch for sure. Plus, he probably just got excited because it was kind of dominant, for lack of a better word, for at least 3.5 rounds. So he probably got excited and just lost himself for a minute,
No, it wasn't even that. I think it's overall, it was, at least for me. So drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think about that whole situation. I'm not slamming Anik. I think he's the GOAT. It's something I personally didn't love. That's okay. That's like, let's not get too crazy about it, but drop a comment. Let me know what you think. We're going to get into the fights here in a second. Let me pull it on up, and we're going to jump right into things this week. If I can find the right button, there we go. Now we're ready to go. Our first fight of the night, which, by the way, I clearly read the comments, sometimes to my own detriment on this fucking show, but I had a couple people actually asked, why don't you guys do the bottom of the card first and work your way up? So that's what we're going to do this week. And I can get Monk real angry to start with because his favorite fighter on the card is up first. It's Cedric the Reaper. Yeah, fuck Bobby Knuckles. Monk's all about the Reaper.
Yeah.
Taking on Dennis Tulin. I tried to sell that. Dumas is 8,900. Oh, fuck. There's some questionable salaries this week. This is one of them. Tulin is 7,300. Your line on this fight, Dumas is minus 225. Tulin is plus 190. Your fight ends inside the distance prop is minus 200. Monk, you are first for the breakdowns. What you got?
Let's go. So yeah, ironically, this is two fighters who have like I hated on so bad that people think that like they've said that I like them so much that people actually think I do, and now I'm actually rooting for Dennis Tulin. I don't know what happened. I got completely like brainwashed somehow into liking Tulin. I still am not a fan of Dumas, and we'll keep it on DraftKings because look.
So clearly you're a fan of guys getting knocked out because he's been knocked out.
I mean, this is the thing. I want Tulin to win just because of the memes, but dude, he's got 5 fights. He beat Jamie Pickett. That's it. He's literally done absolutely fucking nothing. He did score almost 50 points against CLD, but took an L. I mean, it wasn't a close fight at all. But just loves getting knocked out. Like you said, he's 11-9 as a pro, 1-4 in the UFC. So obviously you can't trust him. 73 is still a steep price to pay for one Dennis Tulin because he's not fighting Jamie Pickett. But yeah, Cedric Dumas, how can you trust this guy to do anything? Cody Brundage, Abu Izatar, 2 wins, which is one more than Tulin has, but much like Leon Edwards, unable to score any points no matter what he does. 78 points. Is that too soon? 78 points against Brundage in a win and 63 against Izatar. So I'm not rushing out to play Dumas at 8,900. That said, Tulin loves getting knocked out. Super low level. Could, with these super low level fights, you honestly don't know what's going to happen. So you can't just full fade either guy, which is what I'd love to do. So I'm definitely this is going to have to be at least a minimal GPP play, probably a bit more than that. Well, I want Tulin to win, but Jesus, man, I'm picking Dumas. What do you got?
Somewhat similar here. It's worth noting that unfortunately, Dennis Tulin, and I say unfortunately because it means it's going to be good scoring, has not seen a decision in his last 10 fights. Got some wins and losses mixed in there, but 10 straight fights going, seeing a finish. Cedric Dumas, though, he's kind of a fraud, but they're really, again, the UFC does it all the time. They're good at it. They're trying to get their guys a win. It's GPP special for that reason, not touching it. It's not an all-in fight because there's plenty of paths here because I don't see grappling, second round finish. Really good GPP fight, upper probably third of the card in terms of fights to target. I am on the Dumas side. Tulin in 36 years and change. The UFC know what they're doing. They're trying to get Dumas a win, and Tulin is the guy to do it. So I'm also on the Dumas side, but a GPP fight for me.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. We're going to talk Jai Harbert. Jai, the Black Country Banger. Whew. Okay, taking on. That's up there with Pleasure Man for me, by the way. I mean, in terms of how you feel about it, that is an awful nickname. Awful.
I like brevity. I'm a fan of short and sweet to the point. That's the opposite of that, so we'll just keep it at that.
It's like Jai. This one time I saw a honey badger and I fed it some peanuts. Herbert, like what? Take it on Rolando the Machine Bedoya. Your salaries for this fight: Jai Herbert's 8,600. Bedoya, the comeback is 7,600. Minus 145 is the line on Herbert. Bedoya comes in at plus 125. Fight goes to decision is minus 150. This one's a little bit concerning because, well, let's start with this. Bedoya is 100% fighting for his job, right? Like 1,000%. Coming off of back-to-back losses against Song Kanan and Chaos Williams. Jai Harbert, I'm going to click into Jai Harbert here. I'm going to do a little wiki capping here because he's 2-4-1 in the UFC. Let me dig into it. Faraz Ziam's not a bad loss. Draw against Ludovic Klein, who I've been saying is underrated. Win against Kyle Nelson, who all of a sudden seems decent, right? Lost to Ilya Taporia, lost to Hanato Moicano, lost to Francisco Trinaldo, and a win against Kama Worthy. Like his resume for being 2-4-1, that's a pretty decent 2-4-1 resume, right?
Yeah, I'd agree.
And I still don't feel good about picking him. Like he should be the cleaner striker. Bedoya, where am I? Oh, let's scroll up here. Bedoya shoots takedowns, hasn't got any yet in the UFC, which is interesting. over 3 in both fights. 36-year-old Jai Harbert. He's fighting a week after. Think of it this way. This is what's got me a little bit worried. By the way, I'm picking Jai Harbert, but ever so slightly. I think Bedoya is the better DFS play. But Jai Harbert, they just had a card in Manchester. They just had a card in England. He's fighting the week after in Abu Dhabi against somebody from Peru. Why?
That's a good point.
That's fucking weird. I mean, it's a decent 2-4-1, and Bedoya is 0-2, and Herbert's the better striker. I think he stays I think he stops takedowns. I have this weird feeling. So, analyzing the fight, watching the tape, I'm picking Herbert. Price is no good. Prefer Bedoya for DFS, and I have this also gut feeling that Herbert's going to get himself knocked out. I can't do it for a pick. I just get that, that pit of your stomach feeling like he's going to end up unconscious. And for what has been worth, Bedoya has been fighting a weight class up here. So that's what I got for this one. And actually meant to look, where are they fighting for this fight? This fight is at, I need to go look at the overall card to see. It's at 55. So Bedoya is coming down. Could be a little bigger. Could help him with the wrestling. So give me Herbert, but it's all kinds of red flags. How about for you, Monk?
Yeah, I probably agree with the pick and the confidence level, which is Herbert and next
Dumpster.
to none. Yeah, exactly. We haven't seen Herbert KO'd since the Ilya Topuria one, but since this is Jai Herbert, go back into your fight tape and watch him get absolutely murdered on live television. It was wild. And he actually had success. That was Topuria going up to lightweight as well. So let's keep that in mind. But yeah, hasn't looked great against, like you said, decent competition. Yeah, Bedoya is just tough, man. Definitely on the line for his job. Plus 318 against Chaos Williams. He was 6,700. Then against Song Kanan, he was 9,200 as a minus 400 favorite. And lost that fight. Not even a split decision. It was super close, unanimous decision. Super close on the stats, I mean, at least. But yeah, he's landing good volume over 30 minutes. We're at more than 8 strikes a minute at this point. I mean, 112 against Kanan, 149 against Williams. And if there's one thing Jai Herbert's going to do, it's stand and bang with you for sure. So this could be a GPP, a decent GPP play is what I'm trying to say. Even though it's plus 120 ITD, I'm kind of with Sniper here. I have a feeling Herbert could get KO'd, but Bedoya never been finished. But I don't see why it couldn't happen against a guy that we know hits kind of hard. So yeah, picking Herbert, like I said, next to no confidence, and Bedoya, I mean, goodness, he's putting up good scores and losses, 60 and 45. But what's the salary here? 7,600. That's not probably going to do it with 25, 24 other fighters on the card if you don't count his opponent. So give me Herbert, but Bedoya probably the side for GPPs.
All right, let's move on and let's talk Victoria Dudakova taking on Sam Page Hughes. Sam Page, by the way, solid nickname. Way to go, Sam Hughes, not sucking it up there. Dudakova is a minus 175 favorite. The comeback on Hughes is plus 145. DraftKings salaries for this one, Dudakova is 8,500 and Hughes is 7,700. Monk, you get this one first.
Normally, I'm probably not interested in this at a plus 300 ITD, but with these specific fighters at these specific salaries, I do have some GPP interest here just because both historically score very well. Both strawweights over 3 points per minute. Sam Hughes just barely at 3.05. But Victoria Dudakova at 3.44. Now, I know that's a very short sample size, barely over 15 minutes. But still, those are decent numbers here. And Dudakova looked, the Estela Nunes was at the arm breaking or elbow dislocation, I think. But then she outstruck Jinyu Fry, knocked her down, was taken down and controlled for about a round of that fight, but still managed to win. Didn't score well, only 77. When Sam Hughes wins, she's beating, again, Estela Nunes, Elise Reed, and Jacqueline Amorim. Not the greatest competition. That was Amorim's debut as well in the UFC, so she usually, should be improving from there. Lost to Pieta Rodriguez and Yasmin Uregi. So, long story short, I'm not trusting either one for cash. Dudakova, I can find other options. I don't really need to put her in a cash spot. And Sam Hughes, I don't know, man. I'm just not sure. She's 1-2 in her last 5 or in her last 3, excuse me. But the DraftKings upside is there. Both women scoring just under 100 points per loss. So I'm going to pick Dudakova. This probably goes to decision. Sam Hughes is tough as shit. So let's not remember that. But it's not like she's, if Bobby Green could have made it to round 3 last week, we would have seen some shit. Sam Hughes kind of takes punishment, yet just doesn't get put away too easily. So I'm not expecting a huge score here. Probably looking to be about average or just a bit under for this one. Picking Dudakova.
Problem is that you never really know what Sam Hughes you're going to get. She's looked good. She's looked bad. She can grapple. She can't grapple. Dudakova's got decent striking. She also appears exceedingly strong in the clinch and can get takedowns. She's shown the ability to do that. So for those reasons, I'm picking Victoria Dudakova. Sam Hughes is a little too expensive to be a cash punt. There's another spot I like a little bit more. Not a super interesting fight for me, but for me, most of the interest is on the Dudakova side for the reasons I mentioned. And I'm actually pretty impressed. I think I was pretty succinct with that one. So I'm going to go fuck things up here in a second, which is actually good because I kind of just teased myself. And I'm wondering if I'm alone on this one. Actually, no, I'm not somebody I've talked to. But anyway. Guram Kutateladze taking on Jordan, the epidemic Vucinic. Your DraftKings salaries for this one. Kutateladze is 8,800. Vucinic is 7,400. Line on this fight, Kutateladze minus 215. The comeback on Vucinic plus 165. Fight over 2.5 rounds is all we have available. Some books minus 180, some minus 195. I'm hoping Guram Kutateladze is going to be very, very popular because I'm on the dog play. I'm on Jordan Vucinic on short notice in this spot. And, I saw it, and my immediate thought from watching Vucinic and Cage Warriors is, man, this is glad he got the call. Tough fight to come into the UFC for, right? He's got this one decision loss to Paul Hughes here. I'm like, Kutateladze, at least in my head, was a pretty high caliber guy. And somebody I talked to went, Kutateladze isn't that good. And I started digging into it, and he came in, he looked great against Mateus Gamrot, right? Shocked everybody, split decision win. He did not look good against Damir Ismagulov or Elvis Brennen, like at all. He has looked bad his last 2 fights. And I think the Gamrot fight is stuck in my head. But when I watch Vucinic, Kutateladze isn't great at getting takedowns. He can do it, but he's not some relentless grappler guy. I think Gamrot took him down in that fight. Elvis Brennen knocked him out. Okay. And Jordan Vucinic, I think, is going to be the better striker. I think he can keep it on the feet. I think he's pretty good. He seems like a solid all-around prospect, and just no one's going to play Kutateladze or going to play Vucinic. I think everyone's going to be on Goran. You're going to see the Gamrot win. This kid hasn't been in the UFC. It's a Cage Warriors champ for a reason. I'm taking the stab here, and regardless, I think he hangs around long enough to, even if I'm wrong on the kill shot winning or the winning of this dog play, I think he's going to be good enough to at least limit the scoring of Kutateladze. Now, if I'm wrong on Kutateladze, there's risk here, but I'm not going to shy away from it. I'm just going to present the other side. If I'm wrong and Kutateladze can implement the grappling game plan, he'll score a butt ton. So the potential is there. You're just going to have to pick your spots. And you just did a video, tips to win NFL DFS. Same thing, though. Same game theory, fading the chalk type of applies here. I think Kutateladze is going to be popular, and I'm not down with that. I'm going to be on the Vucinic side, and we will see what the ownership projections say. Monk, are we going 2-0 in the dog here? This is the one I haven't seen, so I'm interested in other people's takes. What do you have?
Listen, man, I mean, bearded and bald with a beard that looks like that, normally I'm all over it. Come on. And I love my fighters from Georgia. I'm a huge Roman Dolidze guy, huge Marab guy. I cannot do it with Guram. To answer your question, yes, I'm on it with you. I'm on.
Yeah, all right. I mean, I feel better that we're both in the dog, but I feel a little worse than that maybe Kutateladze is not going to be as popular as I was hoping.
That's what I mean, I don't know why he would be popular at all. I hope he is. I'm with you. This dude does absolutely fucking nothing. He's $8,800. Listen, he put up he strikes 6.4 strikes a minute is what he landed against where'd it go? Elvis Brenner. Got taken down twice. Got 65 strikes landed on him, got knocked down in that fight and out controlled. Let's see, gave up somewhere around, I don't know, 80, 85, something off the top of my head. Lost to Damir Ismagulov, got outstruck, landed over 5 strikes a minute. Hardly any control time there, and would have scored like 37, so 67 points in a win. Not impressive. Mateusz Gamrot, if you're erasing the memory of that fight entirely and you're looking at the stats, you're going, how the fuck did he win this fight? Because he landed 2.5 strikes a minute, got outstruck, did land a knockdown, got taken down 5 times, controlled for 23% of the entire fight, and got outscored. DraftKings points, you take out the bonus, he would have scored 26. Mateusz would have scored 55.5. So we could easily be looking at an 0-3 guy here in Goran. That's a long way of saying I'm not impressed. And from a DraftKings point, which is what we're talking about, I am very much less than impressed here. Give me the newcomer. Why not? He's super, super cheap. Has yet to be finished in 15 fights, which I love. Has 6 subs. And Goran, who I think doesn't look good, was just minus 550 against Brenner and got KO'd or got finished in that one. So Vucinic also with 2 KO TKO wins in his career. So yeah, I don't know. Even if Goran tries wrestling, I don't know, man. Maybe the guy with 6 subs isn't the guy to do it against. I have no idea. I'm going to be honest. I haven't done a ton of fight tape on Vucinic. I just put him into the database yesterday and watched as much as I could. But yeah, Goran, I'm not impressed with. Give me the dog here. Even if Goran wins, what are we expecting? Like 80 points, 70 points? No, not looking forward to Goran. Definitely the number one chance of being the Monk got it wrong pick of the week by saying don't roster this guy because he doesn't ever score well. So take that with what you will. It worked out last week. So,
and now we get to talk about a guy that I am a little bit concerned I'm going to get this one wrong because I got it wrong in the past. Shamil Gaziev taking on Dantel Mays. To the line on this fight, Gaziev is minus 225. Mays is plus 185. Your DraftKings salary here, Gaziev is 9,100. Mays is 7,100. And Monk, you're first for this one, but can you remember a larger drop-off in competition that wasn't created by a short notice fight than Shamil Gaziev versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik to Shamil Gaziev versus Dantel Mays? Because I can't think of one.
This dude Gaziev main evented an event 5 months ago. Not even 5 months ago. Main event. And now he's on the 5th fight of the card fighting Dantel Mays. Yeah, I haven't seen anything like that. The prices are crazy here. What are we like? Dantel Mays. Let's see. I don't even have it on my screen. I only have the last 5 fights. When's the last time he was knocked out? Is my question, because he's lost 3. All 3 of his last 3 losses are decisions to a guy that was on steroids, Augusto Sakai, and Rodrigo Nascimento. So possibly 3 guys that were on steroids. Beat Andrei Arlovsky, beat Caio Machado. Gaziev, I mean, he beat Martin Boudet, scored 95 points in a knockout, TKO knockout, rather, I should say. So, at 9,100, what are we? We're not really paying that off there. Dantel Mays is the only side you can play just because of his salary. I don't trust Gaziev. He's probably a fraud. Who knows? People love to call people frauds these days. I'll hop on that bandwagon and put my Shamil card into the fraud hat. But Dantel Mays is much less than impressive. Long story short, if this fight gets out of the first round, you're fucked. Your GPP lineups are probably done. The winner's going to score 70, 80 points, and you're going to be very, very not happy because Dantel Mays probably not even going to hump a guy to death for the second time. So, yeah, you're probably looking at a bunch of crumpled up tickets if this fight hits the second round. You're hoping it finishes early, and you're probably hoping it's Dantel Mays at 7,100. So I'm just going to come right out and pick him. I don't see why I shouldn't. It's probably stupid, but picking Gaziev is probably equally stupid. So give me Dantel Mays here.
Yeah, I can't go that far. I got to stay with Gaziev here. I can't turn it around that aggressive. I mean, Dantel Mays.
USA.
No. Bahrain. Look, Gaziev's just like, I get it. He beat Greg Velasco and Martin Budai, but is Budai? I mean, Budai's in the level of like. Remember when?
Where do you rank Rosenstruik in the heavyweight division? That's what I mean, dude. This dude, like, yeah.
Oh, but he's still up there. He's better than any of the guys Mays has fought. Remember, Dantel Mays lost to Hamdi Abdul Wahab.
That dude was juiced up. That's not his fault. He's a juiced up Egyptian.
Did you see what he looked like that fight? He was.
Yeah, he was the peak of.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Look, I think Gaziev will be able to get takedowns and be just fine here. Like, Dantel Mays is not a great grappler. He's okay. I mean, Dantel Mays' claim to fame is he hurt John Jones' shoulder. And thank you for that, because fuck that guy. Which, by the way, hot take, he wants no part of Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall's the baddest man on the planet. Period. End of story. And I'll move on. Right now. Now, all-time GOATs, it's still John Jones, even though I hate him. But right now, who cares about Stipe, John? Who gives a fuck? Anyway, yeah, I think it's Gaziev. I'll play a little bit of Mays and GPPs as just like a total fraud check here in case I'm wrong. It's not. I can't play Gaziev. Well, up in this 9K range, I would argue that he's the second best option above 9K.
The problem is you might only get 3 takedowns here. You could get a shitload of control time, but you might just get 3 rounds of lay and do nothing.
Yeah, you get the little pity patch strikes. It's fine. Look, I'm more on Gaziev than Mays. I gave Vucin into the dog play. I think I got one other dog pick coming. I think. Not even positive anymore. Now I have to look. Yeah, we got some other dog plays out there. For me, this is not a spot. I'm on Gaziev in this one. We could talk about. All right, this is the place we talked about this before the show. So this is the first one we're at here. Muhammad Yaya and Kawe Fernandez. Fernandez is a minus 375 favorite. You come back on Yaya is plus 295. Fight inside the distance is minus 190. And your DraftKings salary, Kawe Fernandez is 9,300. Muhammad Yaya 6,900. All right. What did I see on X Twitter when I was scrolling a little bit after finishing my notes? Everyone's all up in arms about Michael the price in the line on Michael Chiesa. Deservedly so. Get it. We're going to get there. But I think what gets lost in all of that, this price on Kawe Fernandez, I think is more fucking ridiculous. Like, Kawe Fernandez is coming off of a loss to Mark Diakese, and that's his only UFC fight. This is only UFC fight. And he lost, 4 fights ago. He was losing LFA fights. I get Muhammad Yaya lost to Trevor Peek. Total, it was his UFC debut. Can you argue UFC jitters? Peek is kind of a fraud. We've had the conversation. And before that, he was beating up people in UAE Warriors. He was can crushing. Regardless, do I think Kawe should be favored? Probably. 9,300? Fuck you. Kawe has been out grappled. He's been controlled before. You're telling me it's impossible for Muhammad Yaya to do that? And this is a low-level, high-variance fight. For that reason, you do still have to play Kawe because if enough dogs win, the prices aren't going to matter. I think this is a good fight to target overall at that inside the distance number. I don't like the line. I don't like the salary of Kawe, but I'm going to eat some because there's big upside. Probably more upside, I think, than Michael Chiesa, which we're going to talk about later. So I'm going to end up in the same place as most people because they are so off of Chiesa. I'm just off on both. Like, I'm going to have some Muhammad Yaya here. I think Muhammad Yaya's got a chance to pull this upset. I can't quite pick him because I do think Kawe's a little bit cleaner, but this line's too wide is what I'm getting at. The point I'm geek talking around here. This line's too wide, but I'm still on Kawe. How about for you, Monk?
Yeah, to keep it short, both guys didn't really do much so far in their one fight in the UFC. I mean, Kawe 1.5 strikes a minute, Muhammad under 3. Both of them well under 2 DraftKings points a minute, over 15 minutes apiece. Fernandez, Casey was out wrestling him, and he still couldn't land any fucking strikes like in the stand-up. In the half the time that he wasn't being controlled. And Muhammad Yaya, I mean, losing to Trevor Peak, probably not a good look. I know he's everyone's favorite meme fighter, but not great. So yeah, it's a fight I'd love to fade, but unfortunately have to play in GPPs for all the reasons Sniper said. Fernandez, yeah, I'm going to cry putting him into a lineup, but yeah, I'm still going to probably pick him to win. I have zero confidence in it. Zero.
I'm with you. Let's move on to Alonzo Manfield and Azamat Murzakanov. Get rid of that. Line on this fight, Murzakanov's minus 230. The comeback on Manfield's plus 175. Fight ends inside the distance, minus 200. Should see a finish here. And your DraftKings salary, Azamat is 8,700. Manfield is 7,500. Monk, what do you got for this one?
Speaking of no confidence, how do you play a guy that just got KO'd in 12 seconds or something like that? Always rough. I'm an Alonzo Manfield fan, and he was on quite a run before the Olberg demolishing. I mean, Serkinov.
Olberg's good, though.
Olberg is good, yeah. And then Jacoby. Both guys actually beat Jacoby very recently. Murzakanov scored 96, 72, and 72 so far, landing 2 takedowns out of I think 11. And Alonzo Manfield has what I would describe as an average takedown defense in the UFC of 70%. So I don't know. I'm rooting for Manfield. What were we salary wise here? Manfield 75. This is another GPP fight. I'm probably not going to be on much of this in cash, although I could see an argument for Murzakanov. I could even see less of an argument for Manfield. He just seems a lot more risky. I want Manfield to win. My pick is probably going to be Murzakanov, just because of the wrestling game possibilities there. Against Jimmy Crute in the 2 fights that he fought Jimmy Crute, he was taken down 12 times. So there's definitely holes there. And like I said, just a 70% takedown defense. It's not as bad as who was at 43, Muhammad Yaya, who was at 44, Dantel Mays. So it's better than those guys. And Manfield has much more UFC experience, which I do like, and much more overall fighting experience. Murzakanov, 13-0 Russian guy. Still, people like to use the fraud word, but I don't know that I'd be using it here. So I'm going to pick Murzakanov against my heart, but with my brain. And I don't mind either side for GPPs for the finishing upside, which I don't know if you said or not, probably did. Minus 200 fight finishes inside the distance. So definitely a GPP fight here. Also, Manfield, say what you want about him. 4 points a minute inside the distance and 3.57 points overall, 102 points per win.
I have 3 fights I'm going to be heavily exposed to on this card. This is the first of those 3. I'll point out the other 2 as we get there. I do think Murzakanov, to Monk's point, I think he's a better striker. I think he's got grappling upside. Manfield is a more dangerous, powerful striker probably, but they're big guys. They both hit hard. I've seen Manfield crack plenty. I think there's more paths here for Murzakanov, but it's one I'll be playing both sides off, but GPP only fight in which I will have more Murzakanov. And back-to-back, this is going to be a back-to-back. Let's see how Sniper's GPP night is going. This is the second of the 3 fights I will be pretty heavily exposed to. Joel Alvarez taking on Elvis Brennen, who we did talk about earlier in the podcast. Alvarez, the favorite, minus 192. Brennen, the comeback, is plus 160. Fight ends inside the distance, also minus 200 like the last fight. And this fight actually gave me a little bit of fits because DraftKings salary, 8,300 for Alvarez. It's important. And Brennen, 7,900. I actually am picking Elvis Brennen.
Nice.
I think that Alvarez is a little bit one-dimensional. I've seen Brennen bring the fight. I know he lost his last time out to Miktabek Orlabai, and Alvarez can grapple, but he's usually a submission grappler. He's improving. Yes, I'm not quite there. And from what I know about Brenner's BJJ game, I like Elvis Brennen in the spot. I was feeling pretty good about, okay, that's who I'm going to go overweight to. Good fight GPP if Alvarez does win. We got mid-range salaries. It's one of those I'm going to be over on Brennen, slightly under on Alvarez, but not going to kill your type of night. That's how I was going to approach it, GPP fight. And then I look at the odds, and the fucking Alvarez has been steamed. And he's minus 190. Minus 190 at 8,300 on DraftKings is automatic cash game consideration, regardless of what I think. Now you have to consider this motherfucker in cash games. And now I'm angry about it. So I don't know exactly where I'm going to go. It also makes me think, is Brennen hurt? Is there something we don't know? Like that's a 60 to 70 cent line movement in a fight that I was leaning towards the other fighter to begin with. I don't feel good about that. So I'm going to stick with the analysis, going to keep my eye out and ear out during fight week for any stories or potential reasons why. But for now, that's my breakdown of the fight. Monk, what do you have?
Yeah, that's very true. The odds value here compared to the salaries are crazy. Alvarez is basically he has to finish in round one, or he's kind of unplayable. And even when he does finish in round one, it's probably going to be a sub, and it's probably not even going to get you 100 points. Now at 8,300, that's likely not an issue. So we're not too worried about that this week. But again, round 2 sub against DKC, round 1 KO against Moises, round 1 against Yakovlev sub, round 1 sub against Duffy. So we kind of know what Alvarez's game is. Elvis Brennen is probably one of the toughest people I've ever seen in the UFC in recent memory. I mean, I'll never forget his hair going from blonde to red in whatever was that the Goran fight. I don't remember.
So.
I think it had to have been. But yeah, this dude's pulling off plus 470, plus 400, even big favorite minus 225 against Kanan Krzyzewski. And hung in there at least with Oralby. Wasn't too close. He did land 3 takedowns of his own, but got taken down 5 times and controlled 48% of the fight. Now, that's not Alvarez's game. You think grappler always going to take him down? No, this dude is not throwing. He's not landing takedowns. In fact, he's not even throwing them. 0 for 1 in the UFC. 0 for 1 so far with those takedown attempts, or attempt, I should say. But obviously loves to get taken down. Elvis Brennen, 5 of 16, so he's shot an average of 4 takedowns per fight so far. He'd be kind of foolish to do that against Alvarez. Last thing I'll say, Alvarez, only 20% of his fights have scored triple digits. But again, at 8,300, don't let that scare you off. I think he's still a good GPP play and a cash play at this point for the reason that Sniper said. But honestly, I'm going to pick the underdog here. Elvis Brennen, give me Elvis Brennen, man. This guy's super exciting. I love watching this kid fight, and I'm really hoping for another underdog win here out of Elvis, who's also scoring average is much better than Joel's. Well, he did have a 60 in there, so maybe not much better.
I think we're on the same page for that one, so let's move on. And all right, Monk, you have to go first for this fight. You'll know why in a second. So McKenzie Dern taking on Lupi Godinez. McKenzie Dern's the favorite at 8,200. Lupi Godinez is at 8,000. Line on this fight, Dern is minus 130. Godinez, the comeback, is plus 110. Fight goes to decision is minus 200. Monk, you go first because I have to come to mental grips with what I'm going to say.
Yeah, because this is crazy, this fight. This is one, I mean, you see the plus 160 ITD strawweight fight. Yeah, I'm not really looking forward to rostering it, but I think I have to, unfortunately, because you never know who's going to show up in these fights. Lupi's one fight scoring 60 points. Dern's one fight scoring 55 points. Lupi's one fight scored 128. Dern's one fight scoring 153. You never know who is going to show up with these girls. Either woman, well, Lupi's not really actually finishing anyone. She has 3 sub wins. Let's see, in her pro career, 2 of them in the UFC. Dern, obviously the more prolific grappler as far as finishing wins go. Lupi, kind of a decision machine, and she got beat up by Verna pretty good, but Verna came through with the huge win, so that loss aging well. I don't know, man. I guess I'll keep it simple. I'm going to go with Dern. I have to play some of each side in GPPs. It's probably going to be a little bit more Dern at 8,200. I don't mind having a little more of her at these salaries, but man, she's 2-3 in her last 5. this could be just a super. This could be. Can you imagine if these two women just strike? This could be fucking awful. Like Rose, Esparza too. They're both scared of each other's grappling. Who knows, man? Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it, but I think I have to have some of each side. I'm picking Dern. This could be so ugly.
It could be, but this is upsetting because I'm a huge McKenzie Dern mark. I've said it on the show. I've said it plenty of times. I'm a big McKenzie Dern fan. I'm gonna try not to be creepy about it, but I mean, aside from the skill set of me liking grappling,
yeah, I think you can say that without being a creep for sure. Absolutely.
I mean, there's probably some creep undertones. I'm just gonna let everybody imply, but you know, I'm a middle-aged man. I am what I am.
I am what I am.
And now I have to pick Lupi Godinez, and I actually feel relatively good about the Godinez pick, which is just wild because I spent some time on the show shitting on her.
Yeah.
The problem is, how is Dern getting these takedowns? And Dern's camp move is among the worst camp moves fucking have ever seen. Like, bad. Is she a Black House now?
It said she is, but it said that for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She moved from Black House to whatever local. Like, it's just bad.
As a guy that wishes he could track camps, no one does a good job of keeping up on this.
Yeah. So if Dern can't get takedowns, and I don't think she's going to be able to because Lupi's takedown defense is 84%.
Right.
Virna took her down twice. And Virna shot how many takedowns in that fight? Virna shot 9 takedowns. I don't think Dern's getting a better percentage than Virna did. Okay, now we're on the feet. Every time Lupi stops takedowns, her striking isn't pretty, but she outstruck Tabitha Ricci. Split decision win. She outstruck Cynthia Calvillo, although that was a split decision win. And, Calvillo actually landed more strikes. Decided to strike. She outstruck, Emily Ducote. Like, I think she's I know she's a more well-rounded mixed martial artist because she can, when she has a grappling and wrestling advantage on occasion, she's used that. And when she can use her wrestling to keep it on the feet and outstrike. And I think that's what she's going to do here. I don't know how Dern gets this to the ground. The only thing I could say is that Dern throws more wild. And if she lands something big, she's more likely to get a knockout because she's just, I don't care if you take me down. That allows you to come forward and throw like a fucking maniac like we've seen these BJJ people do. I think Lupi wins the fight for those reasons. I think she keeps it up. I think she wins the striking because her striking is ahead of Dern's. Could they be afraid of striking, afraid of grappling in that staring match you mentioned earlier? Sure. But then I'll take the dog odds too. So I like Lupi a little bit more in this fight. I will say, because I expect it to play out on the feet, I think it's a dog shit fight for DFS. Thankfully, I will not have much of this fight at all. So, all right, there goes my my McKenzie Dern pity party. Very sad. Now we get to have the Tony Ferguson, Michael Chiesa. If this fight was 8 years ago, we'd all be jacked up pity party.
I think these pictures were from 8 years ago.
Fucking more than that. Look, UFC on Spike behind Tony Ferguson's picture. Like, woo, buddy. Line on this fight. If you don't know, Chiesa is a minus 670 favorite. The comeback on Ferguson is plus 430. Chiesa is 9,500 on DraftKings. Ferguson is 6,700. But you can't totally ignore it because of the salaries, because fight under 2.5 rounds is plus 100 to end into the distance is minus 130. So we should see a finish. Chiesa is getting finished by Luque. A decision loss to Sean Brady and got choked out by Kevin Holland. What's interesting is Tony Ferguson, he's lost 7 in a row. If he loses, by the way, Monkey sets a UFC record for most consecutive losses.
Who holds it currently? I honestly don't know.
He is tied with BJ Penn.
Okay, I did know that. All right.
It's him and BJ.
Wow. That's tough.
But he lost to Justin Gaethje, BMF champ. Charles Oliveira was champ. Beneil Dariush, I believe, challenged for the title, didn't he?
Was damn close. He fought Armin.
Michael Chandler, title challenger. Nate Diaz is the bad loss, but Bobby Green on the way to top 15, and Paddy Pimblett now in the top 15.
Sorry, who? Oh, King Green. Sorry.
You are correct. My apologies. You're mad. You know what? No. You shoot a takedown on Paddy Pimblett, you're back to Bobby. You dumbass.
He snapped his arm back to Bobby.
Again, as soon as he shot, he was Bobby again.
No, that's true.
And this is this Neil Magny win from Chiesa is a good win. RDA in 2020 is a good win. Nightmare and Condit. Well, 18 Condit's not a terrible one either. So it's a matter of how old is Chiesa. They're both, but his losses, Luque, Brady, Holland. So I think what this comes down to, why the lines are where they are, is who's less shot. And I think we've seen that Ferguson is so shot. The way he can't even, his knee slide opening thing, he's fucking crippled in there. Chiesa does look for ways out, doesn't look great, but I think he looks less bad. So I have to pick Michael Chiesa. Do I agree with the line? No. Am I laying the juice? No. Am I betting on Ferguson at this number? Fuck no. I'm probably just passing on it for DFS. I will play some Chiesa because I think if there's a winner in this fight, scoring a big number, it's Chiesa via the grappling and a submission. Ferguson could win a striking-based decision. Do I think he's going to get a finish? No. There's more paths to a big score for Michael Chiesa. That'll be my side of this fight. And Monk, if you have an alternate opinion, I'm not set in my ways here, but this is fucking awful all around.
Yeah, I'm literally not going to give any stats. I'm the stat guy. You all know the stats. You just said all the losses. Dude. All right. One of these guys
stats are relevant anymore.
No, exactly. 30. Even I, a guy that relies on them too much, can recognize that fact in this fight. 36 years old for Chiesa. Look, man, I would agree with everything you said, but the only difference is Ferguson does look bad, but he's going 15 minutes with Paddy, who just fucking demolished King Green, who he also went basically 15 minutes with. Nate Diaz, 4th round. Chandler, he went into the 6th minute. Benny, he went 15 minutes with.
Nate Diaz, 4th round is not impressive to me.
You know what? It's not impressive to me. Go back and watch that Kevin Holland, Michael Chiesa fight. And tell me how fucking bad Chiesa looked in that one. He turtled up, and it was it. That was it. That was all you're gonna get. It was like I don't know. Speaking of Diaz, it was like Nick Diaz against Ray. It looked like he was just like, oh, I'm not built for this anymore. I'm going back to the analyst desk, which is totally fine. I get it, and he's good at it. He's good at it. He looked bad. Really, really. I understand Kevin Holland is really good. He looked fucking terrible in that Holland fight. And who's more washed? I have no idea. I think they're both extremely washed. But Ferguson, and I don't want to see him shaking his head, doing all this again. Historically, he's going longer with younger fighters. And Chiesa just really put a bad taste in my mouth in that Holland fight. He looked fucking terrible, man. So, yeah, I can't in good mind work for a website and pick Tony Ferguson to win a fight, so I'm not. I will pick Chiesa, but I think Ferguson has just a tad more punt value than maybe people think. And I'm not interested in playing Chiesa, but I have to. You have to. Ferguson's not getting finished early. Chiesa's not finishing anyone early, but these dudes could both be finished. So have to play it. I'll be higher on Ferguson than most people, I think. Not much, though.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to get a game.
I mean, if they're 5%, I'll play 8 to 10. That's what I mean by I'll be higher on him. I'm not going to be at like 20.
Let's move on. Let's talk Marlon Vera and Davison Figueiredo. Line on this fight. Figueiredo's the favorite at minus 145. The comeback on Vera is plus 115. Fight goes to decision is minus 260. Doesn't spell a lot of DraftKings points there. And your salaries are Figueiredo's 8,400. Vera is 7,800. Monk, you are first.
I'm a huge Cheeto guy. I love Cheeto. Not sure I can pick him here, man. Davison up at 135 looks really good. He looks good, huh? What'd you say?
He looks scary.
Yeah, no, yeah. He looks scary for sure. I mean, another guy that I shit on Jake Hadley last week, not just because of his terrible nickname, and I'm not comparing Jake Hadley to Davison. Let's not, but just
Killshot, nailed that bed.
guys
Easy.
that look bad on the scale at 125 who go up at that weight class. It's not like you're at 155 and now you're fighting at 170. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's like a thing to be looked down on. Not that anyone is, but a lot of times, you know, we kind of judge things too early or too late on the weight class stuff. I think he's right where he needs to be. Cheeto, unfortunately, is untrustworthy against really, really good fighters. I know everybody says, yeah, he starts slow and whatnot. Well, what happens if he doesn't start at all, or his opponent doesn't let him start at all? And Davison's exactly that kind of fighter. We've seen it with Font. We've seen it with Garbrandt, two guys that you could consider on the downslope of their career, probably. Marlon Vera, probably, and I don't want to admit it, probably over the hump as well. So I think this is Figgy all day. I think he scores pretty good. I'm not going to say Figgy all day, but I think it's comfortably Figgy, unfortunately. And I think he has potential to score 90 plus points. And I think that could be good at 8,400. Let me just real quick give you one more number here. So yeah, and actually Cheeto does not give up a ton of points when he loses, only 85. And you know he does love, obviously, to go to decision. I'm pretty sure he's never been finished. Is that true? Yeah, in his career, never been finished. So Davison, 3-round fight. I wish it was 5. He could score way better. Probably looking at like 85 to 90 points, maybe a little, on the low side. So yeah, I like Figgy. Probably like him for cash, and that breaks my heart.
The only thing I'll add to that is I don't think I like him for cash because it's not.
Okay, good. Give me some more confidence.
Yeah, the problem is I think we're going to strike here. Figueiredo is the only one with grappling upside. It's why I would consider him on DFS. I agree with you for the pick. True. And one thing I'll add to that, I think there's better spots because around Davis and Figueiredo, you got mostly I'd rather play Dudakova. I'd rather find an extra few $100s and play Murzakanov. Like there's just, I don't know how much Figgy is going to end up on. Some, probably even less Vera, though, because if he wins, it's probably 3 rounds of striking. And Vera in a 3-round fight, what I was going to add is just his tendency, it's well-documented tendency to throw away early rounds is an awful thing for a 3-round fight. Like, just awful. And I think he's even more apt to do it because Figueiredo is the most dangerous early. He's shown a tendency to fade, more so at 25, but he's dangerous early. I don't think Vera is going to be going crazy in there. I think he's going to try and come on late. So Figueiredo's, I think, my pick, and even more clearly the side for DFS. Let's talk about our co-main event. Shara Bullet Magomedov take on Lord Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. Line on this fight, Shara Bullet is minus 230. Comeback for Lord Mikhail is plus 190. Fight ends inside the distance is minus 215. Was this the third fight? This is not the third fight. This is a tier right below. It's not the third of my all-in fights. And now you can kind of imagine where I'm going for that last one. Surprise, surprise. Now that we're on the co-main event. More than likely, Shara Bullet smashes Lord Mikhail. Shara's a star. I know, we don't really know him really well over in Russia, but he, was built up over in some overseas promotions, relatively well known in Russia. Got a win over Bruno Silva. This Stracoli fight, they were just trying to get him a warm body. He went through a few different opponents on the card. That's why he's fighting a month later. We got Lord Mikhail here. Mikhail can be hit. We've seen him finished. Mikhail throws big, and he's got some power, so I'm not going to fade Shara because I need to see it at the UFC level. Granted, this is, low-level UFC, but it's the next logical step up here. Let's see how he handles it. I do think he passes the test. One reason I'm not going to full fade Lord Mikhail is in the past, when he's needed to, and he's been outgunned on the feet, he's shown he can grapple if he chooses. Like, he's not totally dead there. A lot of times people will get on top of him and lay there, but when he needs to, He's out grappled people. Just look up the Khalil Roundtree fight. He took down Khalil and smothered him. I don't know if he's done that. That's the first example that jumps to mind. That was a long time ago, but he got takedowns in that fight. He took down Dustin Jacoby. Took down Chidi and Jaquani. Like he can do it when he needs to. That being said, I am kind of just picking out the few things here. More than likely, Shar gets this done relatively comfortable. It is going to be one of my top GPP plays. I'm just saying, don't X Mikhail out of your player pool. I don't want to give the wrong impression. Shara is the pick. What do you got, Monk?
Yeah, I'll start with Shar as the pick. This is a great GPP fight to target. Also, I agree, don't X Michael out. I am worried about that YouTube comment or whatever it is saying that if he loses, quote, which could probably happen, that he's done fighting. I don't know if that's real. It's on the internet. So
who was that?
It was Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. There's some tweet of a pic of a screenshot of a YouTube comment.
Dude, don't do that against fucking Lord Shar. Like, no, Lord Shar.
That's what he's. I don't know. I hope. Yeah, exactly. Now, all that said, and again, great GPP fight, picking bullet. This dude couldn't even finish, as you said, a warm body. Antonio Trocoli literally stood there in front of him for like 6+ minutes, didn't do fucking anything. He threw 16 strikes in almost 13 minutes. Trocoli did nothing at all. And Magomedov couldn't fucking finish this guy who everyone thought was named Broccoli. Like, what happened?
Broccoli.
What happened there? He was 93, or he scored 93 points in that one. He was taken down 3 times by Bruno Silva. Like, I'm not gonna say this guy's a fraud, but I'm certainly not going to say he's the next thing. I mean, if you can't even finish Antonio Trocoli, who's not doing anything. I don't know what you're going to do. And Michael Oleksiejczuk is the guy that's going to get finished. He loves getting subbed. He loves getting knocked out.
I don't think he actually
he loves it. He does it so much. He has to love it. He has to. Why else would you do it so much? You get subbed 3 times in a row, or your manager just hates you, bro. I don't know.
The reason, Monk, is that it's a 185-pound fucking animal across from him.
Dude. Well, he moved up to this way or down to this weight. I don't know. Was he at 205? Yeah. I forget.
Yeah, he was
that's wild,
205-pound mountains.
That's crazy. No, the only thing I'm really, this is a huge, GPP fight. I'm picking Shara. I don't think he's gonna. What's his salary? What are we doing here? 9K. Okay, so it's not too high. I feel a little bit better playing him. Yeah, I don't trust Michael at all, but again, I don't trust Shara to go out there and get a first round finish, even though he should against a guy who does it so much he has to love getting finished early. So yeah, Shara bullet. And I'll give you a standing ovation if you can, not you, but anyone out there who could spell both of these guys' names without looking. And Shara has to be the full first name. I think I'm the only person that could do it on planet Earth. If you can do it, good for you. Let me know.
Wait. Shara is full. What do you mean his full first name?
Shara Budin. Yeah, exactly.
I can do Oleksiejczuk.
Spell his first name. Don't look at it. You're looking.
No. Is M-I-C-H-A? Is it I-L or L? I-L.
That's wrong. You lost on the first name.
Ah, damn. But I knew the 2 options. I'm like, is there an I stuck in there? But I can do O-L-E-K-S-I-E. Fuck. C-Z-U-K, right?
You missed the J.
J. Oh, yeah. Fucking, I know the J's in there. God damn it. I just typed the thing 5 times today.
Yeah.
Oleksiejczuk.
I'm still, if anyone out there wants to put together an MMA capper content creator spelling bee, I think I would win hands down easily.
I gotta be up there in terms of pronunciations of of Russian names. You throw in a Portuguese name, I'm like a
at
monkey.
This point, all of us are basically experts at, like compared to the regular person.
Yeah. You throw a Spanish or Portuguese name and we go, I don't fucking know. Can't roll my R's. Fuck you. Yeah, all right, let's move on to the main event of the evening. We're going to talk Corey Sandhagen and Umar Nurmagomedov. Your line on this fight. Umar, minus 305. He's the B-side, but he's favored. Corey Sandhagen is plus 245. Fight ends fight goes to decision is actually favored at -125. Your salaries for this one: Umar is 9,200, Corey is 7,000. Monk, I said I was on this fight, and I pretty much am, and I'm also pretty high on the favorite. But I'll give my breakdown in a second. What do you got?
I'm the same as long as you. Yeah, Umar's the favorite.
Yeah.
I assume. I didn't hear your line. I was
Yep.
looking at some stats, and just getting mad in my head about people that say, "quote This guy almost lost or got beat up or something with Beksat Almacan." First of all, speaking of spelling bees, you can't even fucking spell Beksat without looking. Second of all,
wait,
Beksat,
I got this one. BEKZAT
nice.
ALMAKHAN.
Nailed it. So obviously I wasn't talking about you, but all these people, this dude had a fleeting fucking moment, a 1 strike, 1 second moment against probably the best grappler in the entire division, who then went on to show why he's the best. I think
he just
grappler.
Forgot he was in a fight for a second. He went, "Oh yeah,
exactly."
Right.
Like, so I'm not putting a ton of that said. He's out here destroying guys. So it's like Sergey Morozov, Brian Keller, Nate Maness, who's no longer in the UFC, much to the chagrin of way more people than I would have imagined. And Jaime Barcelos is probably the best name on his his resume.
We can talk about this too. We can talk more UFC politics real quick.
No, sure. And I don't have a view on it either way. If they don't like him, whatever. If they don't need him, who cares? It's fine. He did get that KO. But like way more people are talking about it than I would imagine.
Maness should not be cut. He should be in the UFC. I think that's the problem. It's like, why? Why are we cutting him? This is just silly.
Oh, probably would agree.
And Muhammad Makayev should have been cut. Good fucking riddance. Go, like everyone be outraged about why is he cut? All right, let's put it this way. Aside from the not even boring style aside, put that aside. Say, Monk, you and a coworker you don't like, you guys don't like each other, right? But you're at some company event. Take a picture, and you punch the motherfucker in the face. You think you're going to have a job on Monday?
Probably not.
And I know it's MMA. Even in the world of MMA, you can't sucker punch fucking coworkers. You can't do that. That's a fireable offense in and of itself. Aside from
what if your boss slaps his wife on camera? Then what?
Well, the problem is Jeff Bezos probably could have done a lot worse. Like, it's his company. Who's gonna fire him?
That's what I mean. Like, this motherfucker's undefeated. Presidents of your companies out there slapping his wife on New Year's Eve.
Undefeated, but he's notoriously a dick to work. You have to be.
Sure. So many of these fighters are probably dicks.
Exactly, but you can't. The fact that he admitted, took a picture and then I punched him in the face because I don't want to be bullied.
Well, was he getting bullied?
No, he just said I want to prove a point. Jeez, bam. Fucking much less being a dick. That's paranoid schizophrenia. Like, can we get Muhammad Makayev tested for bipolar disorder? I mean, maybe they have a really good testing program over at PFL. See,
who posted that picture of him with the cut? Because he showed up, he didn't have a cut. So was that Makayev or I don't know? There's some weird shit there. I'm not saying he should or shouldn't be. I like Bilal. I'm glad he won. I'm also in the minority there. So
fuck Bilal.
Exactly. See? Oh, I'm so fucking happy. Oh my god. Not so fucking happy. Like this is like fighting, but it made me happy too.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, that's fine.
It was great.
I don't like Bilal, but I don't hate him to the degree I hate like Chris Curtis. It takes Chris Curtis. Sure. It takes my hatred of Chris Curtis to turn me into a Sean Strickland fan. That's how. And if you don't know what that's about, just
either way, I want to see Shavkat. I don't need to see Leon rematch. Nobody wants that.
Yeah, please.
Nobody wants that bullshit.
Anyway, he'll win me over if he starts defending repeatedly against the top guys. He'll totally win me over by doing that.
That was wild. The memes of Leon getting dunked in the toilet. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Anyways,
let's go back to Sandhagen.
Back on track, main event. So I think I just was talking about the Beksat thing and Sandhagen. You definitely have to play. Look, 96 points against Song Yadong. He only had 4 rounds. Went all 5 with Vera, scored 120. went all 5 with Rob Font, scored 133. So this dude is improving every time and landing, getting a ton of points racked up. And in fact, has it only been recently? I have the stats in here, but I'm not going to look for him. He's landed 11 takedowns in his past 3 wins. I don't know if he ever landed that many before. Correct me if I'm wrong when you can go up, but it wasn't too common, I didn't think anyways. But yeah, long story short, I'm playing both guys in GPPs. I'm going to have way more Nurmagomedov because I think his path to victory scores better. And I think him winning is more consistent than him not winning, even if it is against Corey Sandhagen. But Corey Sandhagen's fucking good. Love this guy. And I think, anybody with a brain would tell you that this is probably too wide. And so I'm going to also play some of Sandhagen as well in GPPs. But yeah, I'm thinking Nurmagomedov here. This should be a banger of a fight. There we go. I don't know. I don't have much else to say about this one.
I guess I don't have a brain because I think it's lined about right, honestly.
Is it? Well, I didn't. What was the line? I was thinking of the inside the
minus 300
the distance line. Okay. All right.
I think it's about right because I think Sandhagen's, unfortunately, I think his path to victory is limited to some type of flying knee or catching Umar coming in. And I think it's a low percentage outcome. I think Umar more than likely wins this fight through wrestle smash. I know Sandhagen's gotten better. It's a big step up versus, when he got taken down and beaten by Aljamain Sterling years ago, and he's gotten better versus Song Yudong and Marlon Vera, Rob Font.
Grappling though, huh?
Exactly. This is just different. I think Umar wins. I think he scores big. I think play both sides to have enough Sandhagen. I think my hot take for this fight is I would rather play. I would rather get in Vucinic or Rolando Bedoya in cash than Corey Sandhagen. Probably more Vucinic, just because I want the extra chance at a win here, because I think Sandhagen's floor is incredibly low.
What I forgot to say when I was going to ask you, I personally don't think this is a good stacking main event. What do you think?
No.
Okay, that was all. I was trying to remember it while I was talking. I couldn't think of it.
Yeah, I like Umar a little bit too much. I will say, if I build the rest of my lineup and I'm left with 7,000, my chances, my choices are Tony Ferguson, Muhammad Yaya, and Corey Sandhagen. Ooh. God, do you punt Tony Ferguson in cash?
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm. Kesa looked, and I'm going to get tricked because Kesa looked so fucking bad that now Ferguson's going to get demolished, and I'll have too much of him at 10%. But yeah, I think he's an okay. I think he's an okay punt. Also, is Umar your favorite play overall?
Yes, he is.
What's his ownership going to be? 60?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cash games, 90.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
90 in cash, probably 55, 60 in GPPs. And I'll get leverage on that probably.
Mm-hmm.
Because fuck it.
Yeah.
So that's what we got for UFC Abu Dhabi. But don't go anywhere yet, boys and girls. We got to talk motherfucking kill shots. Kill shot play that can help you win a tournament, usually an underdog. I think I'm on a pretty good run between Hyder Emil and Jake Hadley the last 2 weeks. Got a couple dog smacks. And I'm going to go first again, and because I think I'm pretty convicted in it, and I'll be interested to see what everybody else takes, but I'm gonna pull rank here and go Jordan Vucinic because I have a feeling that was towards the top of your list as well.
And I knew you were going to take him, so I'm trying to scramble.
I like him quite a bit, and then the other one, let's see. Since I think that's clearly the top for both of ours, let's just do consensus kill shots this week. So that's our top. Let's see if together we can put our heads together for
that's our top. If we're keeping to the no main event and under 77, or if we're not keeping to under 77 but still a dog, I would say Brenner.
Agreed.
Otherwise you're kind of throwing darts here.
Then I think it's either Ferguson or
Ferguson,
Bedoya. And I think
it's not Tulin, it's not Mays.
I think those are the four, and clearly I think it's in that order.
I agree.
Little consensus work this week. Went a little long without Geek, but you know what? There was plenty in the world of MMA to talk about and get sidetracked on this week.
Exactly.
So that's what we got. DraftKings for UFC Abu Dhabi. Monk, you got anything before we get the fuck out of here?
That's it. Check me out here. Like and subscribe to the video to this channel as well. You know, we said it earlier, NFL's coming up, and you definitely don't want to miss that. In fact, the live that they were doing earlier was a bunch of back testing for DFS. So that to me as a numbers guy is super, super interesting. So be sure to check that out. Sub to it so you guys never miss it. Sub to it on Twitter or X so you get those lives as well.
Do me a favor, go join DFS Army. Links down below. See you in the Discord for NFL, MMA. We need some, the group at MMA in the MMA room is fucking wild come Saturday. So if you want a good time, lurk around, come join us in there if you're not already. Shout out to those of you guys who are in there, who I know watch this. I will see you in the Discord. Make sure you read the notes, get all the tools, ask any questions. That's what we got for UFC Abu Dhabi. For Monk, I'm Sniper. Good luck. We'll see you next time.